Hi, welcome back. Today I wanted to speak to how educators are dealing with the transition from in-person learning to online learning. And I can only speak from my perspective and what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. So my perspective is, of course, I don't speak for every single teacher. And I don't want anyone to think that I'm trying. I'm just giving my opinion and I'm giving my perspective. So with that being said, I personally I began using Google Classroom last year, and our district switched to wanting us to do Google Classroom as opposed to some of the other online communities, and so that's what I chose to do. And last year I had to have surgery, and so I knew, and I teach AP, and I knew that I was going to have my students prepared to learn by themselves. So for the last 2 years, I've been running my AP class to where they could function on their own if they had to. And so I felt that for AP, my AP students were prepared for a transition to all online. Also, many colleges do online classes, and I know that the majority of my AP students are going to go to college, and so I wanted them to have that experience. For my US History class, which is a junior level class, I did start using Google Classroom this year. I don't feel that they liked it nearly as much as I would have hoped, or that my AP students caught on. So I did all Google Classroom last semester, and this semester I sort of was doing a little bit more of a hybrid. So my students were prepared and able to do stuff online. I just had transitioned sort of back to more in-class stuff. So I think that my students were prepared enough for it. My issue lies in that not all of my students have access to a computer. Not all of my students have access to a phone. Not all of my students have access to Wi-Fi. And so I know there are kids not checking in with me, and I know that there are kids not able to access what I'm posting because they can't. And I feel very frustrated by that as an educator, because there's not equal access. And though my district is trying, my district has they're trying to get laptops to people. My district is talking about like where kids can get free Wi-Fi. There's still going to be a gap. And for me, that's frustrating. I apologize if you hear my dogs in the background. They bark at everything. Anyway, as I was saying, so what am I seeing overall? I have watched my coworkers transition and do more work in the last 2 weeks collectively than I have seen, like interdepartment-wise, email-wise. We're on email chains. It is so amazing to me how a group of people, even people who claim that they're not techno savvy, they've all come together. And they've really sort of risen to the occasion of, hey, you know what? Not what I wanted, not what I expected, not what I prepared for, yet I'm gonna give it my all. Because at the end of the day, we just want to teach kids. We want to educate people. That's what we do. And I always joke with my students when they ask me why I became a teacher. I always say, oh, it's for the vacation. In reality, all the vacation in the world isn't going to make you like your job. And I genuinely love my job. I absolutely love what I do, and the majority of my coworkers do as well. And I'm on this Facebook group with like 40,000 educators, and all the posts that I am seeing are, I miss my kids, I'm worried about my kids, I'm pushing out content, I'm doing lesson plans. And the majority of the teachers that I'm seeing, again, this is my perspective, we're not wanting parents to try to transition to homeschool. If parents homeschool their kids, that's great. That's awesome. And if you can do that and you want to do that and you're dedicated to that, great. If I can help, hit me up. But a lot of parents don't want that. A lot of parents send their kid to school for a reason. And so for the parents to have to all of a sudden try to become a teacher, that's not what we're looking for. I can personally say that I don't expect any parent to transition to being a teacher, especially for juniors and seniors in high school. A parent should check in. Hey, what you doing? Show me your work. What's your assignment? That's it. Like, I don't think my students' parents should sit down and try to teach them AP economics. I could not expect that of a parent ever. I know that for me, like, by the time I was in 11th grade, my parents really couldn't help me with a lot of my work. They just didn't know what I was doing. It didn't mean they didn't care. My mom would ask me, like, oh, what's the paper you're working on? And when I tell her what it is or ask her to proofread it, she was like, I'll read it, but I may not understand it. And that's fine. I mean, just that connection of, hey, what are you working on? That's it. That was good. I think where I'm most concerned is for kids who are younger. And a lot of my coworkers have expressed the same sentiment. We're concerned with the littles because school, when you're K through 3 or 4, you're learning the foundations, you're learning that the fundamentals, and that I think is where we're all sort of worried a little bit. Is like, how is this going to affect them? That being said, every educator is going through this, and so next year when we go back to school, because we will, next year when things get back to normal, because eventually this will pass and we will go back to work, we are going to just understand that we've lost how many weeks of education. And I already can tell you that, like, myself and many others that I have seen are already trying to figure out how to build that into next year. Because I spoke with somebody at the grocery store and they said that their daughter, who's a freshman, was worried they're going to have to repeat their freshman year. No, that's a concern. It's a valid concern. And no, they shouldn't have to worry about that. We as educators are already working on what is this transition going to look like? How are we going to do it? Now, who's deciding that is not me. I just work in a classroom and I handle my classroom. Those decisions are being made higher up, as they should be. And we are all in this together. I have gotten more emails and I've been in more conferencing, video conferencing, than I thought I would ever be in my lifetime. If there's one thing teachers do, it's adapt. A good teacher adapts. Oh, the fire alarm got pulled in 5th period on a random Wednesday. All right, let's do this. Oh, there's a brush fire 1 mile from the school and it's raining ash and the kids are all riled up. Okay, we got this too. There was a tragedy. There was a success. We roll with it. We roll with it and we adapt. And that's exactly what's happening now. We're rolling with it and we're adapting. And I see how many strengths, like I see all of the strengths in public education right now. And I see all the strengths at my high school. And I see all the strengths in my coworkers. And I see all the strengths of my students. And a lot of them I am concerned about. I have not heard from quite a few kids. Again, I'm wondering if that's a lack of accessibility, if they don't have Wi-Fi, don't have a laptop, don't have a phone, or if it's just apathy. I don't know if they're still adjusting, if they think that this is just the best spring break ever. I'm not sure. I appreciate those who have been in touch because Part of what I do is I am concerned and worry about my kids. I've known some of these kids for 4 years, and I've watched them grow from ninth to 12th grade. And the thought of not seeing them again concerns me. I would like to be able to go back and finish out this year. As of now, my county is scheduled to go back on we're out through April 30th. So I believe we go back May 1st. And I'm like that happens because I want to see them. I want to debrief. I just want to have that connection again. So I think, in closing, I think educators have adapted to the best of our ability. We've learned a whole lot. I know I've learned a lot about technology, accessibility, how to teach through video conferencing. And I think overall, we're going to come out of this stronger, and we're going to come out of this wiser, and be prepared for if and when we have to do this in the future. I still do not like online learning. Personally, that's my personal thing. I've taken online classes and I didn't enjoy them. I've watched kids take online classes and only a handful are successful. So I don't believe that this should be the wave of the future unless it has to be. And at this point, I don't think it has to be. I think we should be prepared in case we have to do this, but we shouldn't look at this as the future. So I hope I could give you some insight as to a teacher, educator perspective on distance learning and how we're dealing with it. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't done so, click the subscribe button for me. Give this a thumbs up. It helps my channel grow. And if nothing else, I want this channel to be informative. Have a great day, everyone. Be good people, do good things, stay safe, stay sane, and stay informed.